morning. Today I invite you to reimagine the transformation of the Victorian educational curriculum by integrating Indigenous knowledges, ensuring that every learner receives a high quality education. Before we begin, as we gather on this land, I respectfully acknowledge its traditional custodians and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. This presentation is based on the literature-based research which I did examining how the marginalization of indigenous knowledges in the Victorian school curriculum reinforces colonial pedagogical frameworks and creates barriers to inclusive education. Our current curriculum is deeply rooted in colonial practices, from the doctrine of terra nullius to assimilation policies and the stolen generations. Historical practices have systematically sidelined indigenous perspectives. This exclusion not only distorts our national narrative but also reinforces social inequities that persist today. As you can see here, the Victorian curriculum largely privileges Western epistemologies, relegating indigenous knowledges to tokenistic mentions or omitting them entirely. Studies by Shea and Lampert and Sippin and Brennan illustrate how this marginalization directly contributes to indigenous students feeling alienated, which is further evidenced by ARACY report. This is not just an academic oversight, it actively undermines the educational and cultural well being of all students. Now let's consider why this issue matters. Research shows that when indigenous perspectives are absent, indigenous students feel invisible and disconnected, which undermines their academic engagement and self esteem. Moreover, when the curriculum is predominantly Eurocentric, it erases vital histories of resistance and resilience, depriving all students of crucial cross cultural competencies. This is a significant barrier to creating a truly inclusive educational environment. Here I have identified three core challenges. First, the exclusion of indigenous knowledges undermines cultural identity and belonging, leaving indigenous students feeling alienated and undervalued. Second, the predominance of Eurocentric narratives not only reinforces colonial power structures but also distorts our understanding of national history. Third, when indigenous pedagogies are sidelined and teacher training in culturally responsive practices is insufficient, we see a direct negative impact on student engagement and success. These are the theories I used in my research to analyze the issue. To address this issue, I propose three recommendations. First, we must move beyond tokenistic inclusion and embed indigenous perspectives across all subject areas. This means integrating indigenous languages, histories, and land based pedagogies into our everyday teaching. Second, we need to implement comprehensive professional development for teachers, equipping them with the skills and knowledge to deliver culturally responsive education. Third, establishing genuine partnerships with indigenous communities, inviting educators, elders, and cultural leaders to co design the curriculum is essential for ensuring authenticity and respect in our educational practices. Personally, I am committed to driving change by collaborating with local traditional owners to review and redesign curriculum content, advocating for ongoing professional development in culturally responsive and decolonial practices, embedding relational land-based learning in my teaching practices. This is not just about curricular change, it is a political act towards social justice and reconciliation as argued by Freire and Bachi. I believe that as educators we must be proactive in challenging colonial legacies and fostering environments where every student feels seen and valued. In conclusion, the marginalization of indigenous knowledges is a systemic issue that undermines both equity and quality in education. To truly transform our curriculum, I urge the Department of Education and Training to approve an Indigenous-led curriculum reform task force, fund mandatory professional development for teachers in Indigenous pedagogies, establish clear metrics to monitor improvements in Indigenous students' academic outcomes. Reimagining our curriculum is a necessary path to reconciliation and a stronger future for every Victorian learner. Thank you for your time and consideration.